That must mean I'm live. Um, CNN had a program now. I guess it's one of their new programs called Being, and they're featuring people that would be dear to their heart. And CNN decided to do, I believe, this is their first episode with Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez of New York State's 14th congressional district. I be covering the Bronx. Well, speaking of the Bronx, going back to 2018, and I'll tell you, 3 years ago seemed like yesterday. Joe Crowley, who was a corporate Democrat, still a corporate Democrat, but no longer a member of Congress, suffered an amazing upset in 2018 when Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, with very modest funds, was able to knock down one of the biggest corporate Democrats in the U.S. House of Representatives. I think he was third in line to Nancy Pelosi. So that was an amazing victory. In fact, I would argue in 2018, the midterms, that she probably, after she defeated Joe Crowley, she might have had the easiest election ever. And I'm not knocking her down for it. I was glad. I was like, I wasn't even 99% sure she was going to win. I was 100% sure she was going to win, and she did. And I love the fact that she was a royal pain in the ass to Nancy Pelosi in the beginning when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House, and she went from doing sit-ins at Nancy Pelosi's office to calling her "Mama's Bear" on the View. Suffice to say, I love the fact that she's a polarizing figure, hated by the Republicans, obviously, but hated by corporate Democrats too, and she's still hated by the corporate Democrats and Republicans. She was the darling of the left. The left kind of fractured and split both ways. You got people who cheerlead her every movement, her every breath, her every just her essence. They just sleep, dream, eat, live their life for AOC. And then there are people who were initially supporters of AOC that turn their back on her, like 100, like a 180, and basically, maybe not, basically just view her at best as another politician, at worst a sellout, and even right wing to even some. And I have my particular view, and I'm going to share in a few moments when it comes to AOC. Well, 2018 happened. Not only was AOC elected, you had Ayanna Pressley, and my criticism of Ayanna Pressley was she's from Massachusetts. My problem with her is she ended up endorsing Elizabeth Warren over Bernie Sanders for president. That was a huge, huge damn mistake. Then there was Omar. She did the right thing and supported Bernie Sanders, as did AOC. And Rashida Tlaib, Michigan, and Ilhan Omar of Minnesota, as along with AOC, did the right thing and supported Sanders in the primaries. And I'm pretty sure Jamal Thomas and Cori Bush, Jamal Thomas in New York and Cori Bush of Missouri, who got elected in 2020, supported Bernie Sanders. So the squad is basically 6 members currently, and they basically are what I would call the American version of what passed for Labor in Great Britain, what passed for Social Democrats in, let's say, Germany, or the New Democratic Party of Canada. They are social democrats, democratic socialists, social democrats, the true center left, not this fake center left that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the overall Democratic Party is. I mean, the Democratic Party acts as the center left because We have an entrenched two-party system, but the Democratic Party might be considered center right conservative in any other developed country in the West. And I do know what I'm talking about. But anyway, suffice to say, CNN did a program, as I said, called Being, and they decided to talk about AOC. And well, I didn't watch it, but I've heard other people talking about it. I'm aware it was a fluff piece, softball questions, that sort of thing. Like what Fox News would do that for any Republican president or any Republican politician. It was their version of that on CNN, and I can't find the video for it on CNN for some reason because I wanted to comment on it. So I'm going to. Some people think I'm being lazy, but the only place I found it, parts of the interview that's relevant to what I need to say was on Kyle Kalinske show. Kyle Kalinske show. So and so I'm going to go ahead and play that portion of the interview. Plus, Kyle Kalinske had something to say about it, which is also relevant. So let me go ahead and do that, and I will comment very shortly. Just be patient with video.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is doing a CNN show, and she was asked about running against Schumer and running for president. Take a look at this.
Are you going to challenge Senator Schumer in a primary race?
Here's the thing, is that, and I know it drives everybody nuts, but the way that I really feel about this and the way that I really approach my politics and my political career is that I do not look at things and I do not set my course positionally. And I know there's a lot of people who do not believe that, but I can't operate the way that I operate and do the things that I do in politics while trying to be aspiring to other things or calculating to other things. And so all of that is to say is that I make decisions based on what I think our people need and my community needs. And so I'm not commenting on that.
Because you're going to have to make a decision soon.
Yeah, but the thing is also I feel like this is a decision that was almost put on me, right? Like I didn't go into politics and say, I'm going to run, I'm going to win. 2 years later, I'm going to run for Senate. That's not in my calculus. I wake up and I say, what is needed and what is necessary. And so, I never thought about this as like a decision that needs to be made or not need to be made. Honestly, my focus is taking temperature in how things are going in Washington right now. I really do not try to make these kinds of decisions out of a sense of personal ambition.
But there's also a calendar. Meaning if you decide that you're going to run for the Senate, you got to file at some point that you can just here in this district.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. It's no comment on it.
Chuck Schumer's watching this, he's going to say, when are you going to put me out of my misery? Or not. Or put me in my misery.
Well, and for what it's worth, Senator Schumer and I have been working very closely.
I've noticed
on a lot of legislation, and that to me is important, right? And so we shall see.
Okay, I know you're not talking about your future ambition, but there was there are a lot of Post-its I know you've seen outside here. One of the Post-it notes here in front of your office from a constituent says AOC for president.
I don't, I struggle with this because I don't want little girls watching or anything like that to like lower their sights or anything in that direction. But for me, I feel that if that was in the scope of my ambition, it would chip away at my courage today. And I've decided that my courage in the present moment is more important than trying to, being able to stand up and take tough positions that I think will help people, but may be controversial today. That to me right now is more important than having some sort of career path or milestone.
But you would have to be more calculating.
Right.
If that were the case.
I think that what happens a lot is that, I think what happens a lot in politics is that people are so motivated to run for certain higher office that they compromise in fighting for people today. And the idea is that if you can be as clean of a slate or as blank of a slate, that it makes it easier for you to run for higher office later on. And
be authentic.
To be authentic. I decided that being me is more important than being anything else.
So there's a lot to say about this. First of all, I have to say it's really gross to watch. Basically, CNN is doing like a puff piece on Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. And the fact that they want to do that is not a good sign. Because if you're doing your job properly, you're going to be hated by CNN, by MSNBC, by Fox News, by the entire establishment media, even the print outlets. So the fact that they're comfortable doing it really is a red flag to me. And
Okay, give me a moment, and I'm going to come right back to comment. There you go. I was going to, I didn't want to play the whole video that's last 12 minutes because, well, the thing about it is, what Kyle has to say, you can watch it on his channel. I agree with, but I want to go and share my perspective because, because I have something to say about this. And basically, what he's talking about was the cliche political posturing and double talk, and that's so evident right there. And it really is frustrating to see this. And we're talking about somebody that as I said 3 years ago when I first heard of AOC. I mean, I was just like, she's a rock star. I mean, I didn't have any grandiose delusions that, oh well, we're going to end up becoming a social democracy, or we're going to end up becoming an anarcho-syndicalist society, or we'll be what's another? We'll be a one American huge commune, or we'll be one national size kibbutz. You name it, whatever it is. Think about it is that it was a lot of political posturing and cliche talks. And with Kyle Kalinske, his frustration was there because, I mean, he was a major mover and shaker when it came to promoting AOC. He was kind of right there. I mean, he's been working with the Justice Democrats, and you could almost argue that with regard to Kyle, he's almost a partial source of what would be the creation of the politician AOC, or the politician as originally presented to us 3 years ago. And the thing about it is, Chuck Schumer, the whole Chuck Schumer thing, and I actually joked about this. I was like, well, I wasn't joking, but I actually meant it. And it was like, I used to tell my friends, I was like, what if AOC decides to go and challenge Chuck Schumer in the Democratic primary up in New York State when he's up for re-election? And I'm just like, wouldn't it just be awesome if he could have his clock clean by AOC and have Senator AOC? And I mean, as much as I have a problem with AOC, I mean, she's still better than, let's say, Chuck Schumer. But if I would say that the AOC still serves a positive role in doing something proactive, and sometimes I'm in conflict with that because it's kind of like force to vote was like the pivotal moment where it was a chance for the squad to basically have the leverage it would take to try to pressure this country, this ass backwards United States. And I call it ass backwards without apology because we are still uh, the last industrialized democracy not to have universal health care. That they could not bring themselves to force the vote on Medicare for all, let alone force the vote on $15 an hour minimum wage or anything that really matters. Yeah, they're kind of doing it with infrastructure. And do I look at the infrastructure bill and think, do I think it's a worthless infrastructure bill? No, it's not worthless. It could be better. And the parts of it is because of the squad. But I wish they would have, if they were going to keep their powders dry, do it on a real piece of legislation like Medicare for all to guilt trip Nancy Pelosi. You see, here's the thing: I myself don't look at corporate Democrats and thinking, how in the world can I sit there and play nice with them? And let's see what we can do when Democrats get elected and you get enough people from the squad. Maybe they'll just be nice to the corporate Democrats. I don't want them to be nice to the corporate Democrats. I want them to be assholes to Nancy Pelosi. I want them to be assholes to Jim Clyburn. I want the corporate Democrats to just hate these people because for this reason, that they will have to be forced to cooperate with the squad. And no, the squad would be like, oh, we're going to look like Ralph Nader in 2000 if we fight them too much. At least Ralph Nader fought. I mean, and I've said this before and I'll say it again, force the vote. They could do force the vote and they might get Medicare for all or a compromise like lowering Medicare eligibility to 50 or having a public option to be added to the Affordable Care Act, which the Affordable Care Act needs to be scrapped and we need Medicare for all. But if we had public option or lower Medicare eligibility, it would have been a start. Or they could have done what they decided not to do, just sit on their asses and do nothing. And let's see what happened. There's no Medicare for all. And people gets mad about the Medicare for all. They're like, they're getting all, like these people with their forced to vote. Yeah. Oh, as if not doing anything is going to get us to where we're at. The reason why people like myself tend to be loud about forced to vote is because, and I'm 52 years old, I've seen for decades what corporate Democrats have done and where the left is weak and where they're always in a position of having to choose the lesser evil. And those that do, they feel dirty. I even think that those that voted for Biden last year is the lesser evil and they're pretending to be excited by him. Deep down, they know he was going to be a disappointment. But about a year ago, it was like, oh, we're going to go and get Biden in there. We're going to get Trump out, and we're going to go push him to the left. Woohoo! They're not doing it. They're not doing it. But at least AOC is basically making Chuck Schumer less shitty than he would normally be. Because if there would be no AOC around, I can guarantee you that the voting record of Chuck Schumer would be closer to Joe Manchin of West Virginia or Kristen Sinema of Arizona. And y'all have been listening to me long enough to know what my opinion, where I stand on Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Might as well just make them Republicans and be done with it. You know, because I think that there will be that I think that there will be downturning Republicans will actually do more to advance the left wing cause than them being the Democrats and pretending that they stand for working people. I'm talking about Joe Manchin and Cinema. But where do I stand on the squad? Do I call them the fraud squad? Do I say fuck them? Do I just wash my hands? The temptation is there, but and the frustration I have. I mean, and it increases every day. But I have to have a clear head too. They are the best we got, the squad, and that's not saying much these days. I'm not this notion that they're the best we have is better than saying, well, Nancy Pelosi and Jim Clyburn is the best that we have because they're a buffer zone against the Republicans. I mean, they're marginally better than corporate Democrats. But the fact that we sent them there and they're not doing what we want them to do, it's very, very frustrating, needless to say. But what do I stand? I critically support them. But I mean, I do so because, who's not to say down the road, whether it's a Green Party, whether it's the People's Party that for some reason everybody's mad at lately. I have my opinions on the People's Party. I certainly don't have anything against them ideologically. But the thing about it is, whether it's the People's Party, the Green Party, or they're like Bernie Sanders, a generic independent that gets elected to a congressional district somewhere, or maybe a U.S. state. If that was to happen, I'm being optimistic here saying this. Of course, they will work with the squad. And the squad, if the squad felt like there was enough of a third-party threat, or they could look at independence and form an electoral alliance or of some sort. Like on a small level, coalition governing. They could be coalition partners. So that is why I would kind of I'm not telling people what to do when it comes to how they feel about the squad, but I take an inside-outside approach. Democrats are garbage, but there are good Democrats. Unfortunately, sometimes they got their hands tied, and maybe they're that you can say that about the squad. With regard to independent political action, where it can be feasible, please do so as well. But I would say that I critically support them, but I have no I have no grandiose delusions that this is going to be the next big thing. We're going to see the second coming of FDR's New Deal, basically acclimated into the 21st century. Now, with regard to AOC running for president, I think that I don't know. I think that she needs to show that she could be a fighter, and I don't see the serious fighting that could take place. This is what I'm sad about Nina Turner not winning the special primary election last week, because I've always said that if Nina Turner would have won that primary, she would have easily have gotten elected into the Congress in that 11th congressional district, just as AOC did in 2018. But the temperament of Nina Turner and the temperament of AOC, and this is not a criticism of either individuals, but at least with Nina Turner, I believe that we would have probably. People can doubt me, but I do believe that Nina Turner would actually do something like force the vote. But when it comes to the squad right now, the hero at the moment is Cori Bush, who's been pretty good on the eviction moratorium, and I hope that I hope to see the other members of the squad follow suit. Anyway, that's what I have to say this morning. I am incredibly tired right now, and I'm about ready to hit the sack. And I'm looking at this chat over here, and radical leftist agenda. Hello. And I am about ready to go to sleep, everyone. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree with what I have to say, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Be sure to hit to subscribe to this channel, and because you get hard-hitting social democratic commentary. And let me just ensure everyone to create your own platform, exercise that First Amendment right, because they're going to try to shut us all down. That's how big tech likes to do things. I'm going to comment on that later on, maybe in a few days. Take care, everyone. I got to get some sleep. I hope to see you all soon. I am going to sign off right now. Good night.